All right. Good
What's up,
evening,
guys?
everyone. How's everybody doing?
How's it going?
Doing all right. Yeah, man. So here we are. It's Monday after the election.
Welcome to Voices of the Nation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
got a lot of stories to talk about for real, though, man. Yeah, so. Have you known anybody who's melted down yet, personally,
Yeah, I lost a friend.
man?
Did you? You lost a friend already?
Yeah.
Sucks, man.
It's stupid, man. And all
It
because
is.
I was just saying, hey, you need to chill out. Like it's not that serious. But I
Yeah.
said
Right.
it in a very me kind of way, which was like, hey, get a grip. And
Well,
she
No, you
fucking
were
yeah, and they blew up on me, so
you were real with them.
yeah.
and
It's
it's
all right.
such a shame. It's such a shame because honestly, everything I've been hearing sounds amazing. We're going to get some control
Yeah.
over the borders. We're going to, I don't know, man, the economy is about to be turbocharged. I was
Yeah.
reading an article where a lot of economists are saying if Trump does what he's about to do, it's going to put us on new highs. They said it's going to be more than the Reagan administration was able to accomplish during their tenure with their era of economics.
That's cool.
That would
Yeah.
Yeah.
be awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, it'd be great if we can get gas back to down like $1 or so. That would be wonderful.
It'd be amazing.
It'll never
Um,
happen again, but
but under $2 is possible.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
Um,
yeah,
possible. Especially
well,
during the
a lot
winter.
of these effects of, I guess, the new policy changes, we're not going to necessarily see them immediately, but just the fact that they're going to happen, just the enthusiasm is going to cause inflation to reduce, interest rates to drop, higher production rates, which is going to create higher supply, less demand, which is going to make the products cheaper. So, and then over time, you're going to see those infrastructures as they gear up and get up to maximum speed. It's going to, I think it's going to be very sustainable and amazing. So, and this isn't even to talk about how other countries are beginning to react as well. I mean, did you hear that the European Union um, officially requested that they get all of their natural, what is it, liquefied natural gas from the United States to get off of Russian fuel entirely? And that happened in like 48 hours of the
Oh
election.
yeah. Yeah, it was quick, right?
Well, I know
A lot
that
of
not
stuff
all of us
happens
believe
very
in
quickly.
crypto either, but Bitcoin has hit new highs. Like all cryptos are surging. It's really interesting what's happening, and he's not even in office yet, man.
What about the
Like,
economy? I mean, well, look what's going
I
on
mean,
there. I mean,
the
that's
stock
surging as
markets are,
well.
yeah,
Yeah,
It's just a
they're
sentiment.
definitely
And,
doing.
people understand that there's going to be,
a dip.
massive loosening of the restrictions on energy independence in the United States, and that's just going to have a ripple effect. I mean, I was talking
It's
to somebody too, and they said they liked capitalism, but it was like one of those people that says like I don't identify with a party, but then they'll continue to talk, very liberal or very progressive, and you're like, oh yeah, and you're one of them, right? But he's like, oh, I like capitalism, but I like pure capitalism, and the tariffs are what bother me. And I'm like, dude, so I get the aspect the tariffs would fall into something that they would call like maybe a crony capitalism or some variation there. It was still capitalism, but nonetheless, I'm like, dude, if we're competing with countries like China, other nations, Mexico or wherever, where they have lower labor standards, right? They can put their kids to work. It's like we're not going to put our kids to work. So that tariff is like that extra little cherry on top that kind of pushes the production locally. People are concerned that the tariffs are going to get the price up on goods, but the reality is, if this is a consumer nation, people buy things here. They're going to move things here regardless. So if the prices get too high, and the opportunity is there and the money is available at a reasonable rate, another company's going to start up. It's going to take over. It'll be an American buildup. And that's how it's supposed to cycle through with capitalism. It's a government intervention that gives you issues. But the tariffs, it's a necessity, man. I've had people argue that. And I'm like, I get your perspective and why you think that's going to drive the prices up, but the competition is going to be there. It's not driving the prices up in an economy where you can't start a business. This will be a healthy place to start a business, and that creates new opportunities. So I'm excited for it, and I think across the board we're going to see a lot of growth because of it. It's going to be local growth, which is great. So
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping that'll definitely happen. A
it
lot
will.
of arguments about that were basically saying, what you just said, that the cost will be pass down to the consumer regardless. But
Well,
I mean, the way you put it, where we are a consumer nation and we're going to buy shit anyway, so we're going to get it
We
from
are.
somewhere. Yeah.
we
That
consume
makes
so much of the world's goods. If we make it cheaper to produce here and we impose a cost to bring the goods back here, those companies are still going to bring the goods back here, and there's competition in the market when it's easier to get money. So it
well.
will right itself. We're
We
not going to
also
put our
may be
children to
able to get-
work, right?
Are we
True.
talking about like when we're talking about goods? Are we talking about like maybe electronics or like maybe like John Deere wants to move to Mexico or Apple making their products overseas? Like specific, are you talking about a tariff being applied on that company, American company that makes their product overseas for a much
Exactly.
lower
Exactly.
price?
Yeah.
Right. So
Well,
And
wouldn't
one of
that
the
also
one of two
force
things that's going to
companies to
happen,
go?
I mean, they'll either increase their prices, which is going to drive their sales down, and they're going to have to answer to their stockholders, right? So these big companies, people don't realize it's not, they talk about these big companies like it's this person, yeah, but it's a conglomerate of people. In fact, probably most people watching, right? Us included, 401ks, right? If you have a 401k, you're included in that group of greedy corporate people. You're profiting from it.
Basically,
And you're
any
not going to
stocks,
put
though,
your money
right?
into something that's a sinking ship. Nobody expects you to do that, right? So they're going to have to
Right.
react according to their shareholders. If sales go down, they're going to have to react. If other companies are building here, now social things matter. We saw that with the onset of COVID, with things like Uber. There was a time during COVID where Uber was down in revenue, but their shares were up. It's largely sentiment. It's the introduction of things like Robinhood. You can take $20, $50 now and invest. You couldn't do that historically.
yeah,
So
You
yeah,
definitely
it will right itself. It will. His plan's going to work. It's proven. It's worked before.
But
it's
if you're imposing tariffs on like hostile countries, like let's say China and stuff, doesn't that give the opportunity of our supply chain to move outside of China to other countries that'll actually benefit from our consumerism?
And a
Handle here.
second part to his question,
Also
like,
here,
is there a
too.
difference?
Here.
Is there a difference between a tariff being applied to a country versus a tariff being applied to an American company?
Well, I mean, they could do one or the other, right? That's kind of how they set it up. Yeah, I mean, in general, I think it's if you bring goods to sell here in the United States that weren't produced here, you're paying to bring them in. And that's great
Right.
because they can take that money and they can give extra tax incentives to companies that produce here. So it's like, okay, you want to build over there and go real cheap, you're going to pay on the way in the door, and your competitors that are building here, they're going to get a tax break, and they don't
Yeah.
have to ship. Their cost is going to go down, and they're going to outdo you, right? And your shareholders are
Right.
either going to withdraw or you're going to move your shit to produce in the United States, which is going to grow gross domestic product, which will make your dollar go further. You could make the same amount of money in Trump's economy, but buy more. And that's
Right.
what matters. It's not about having the
Right.
extra $10 an hour. It's about that
Yeah.
money purchasing significant amount more than it does now.
Right.
That's the
For
thing.
sure.
Yeah. That's right. Increasing the value of the dollar that's in your
Yeah.
pocket.
Well, most of these jobs where people are screaming that they want 15, $20 an hour for are totally being automated anyway. So they're basically just complaining themselves out of a job market, because if that's the only job you get is working at McDonald's, then you're really not striving for much, man. Like that's an entry level job meant for high school kids, let it be their first job, or like a senior citizen who can't do much, just like stand around and make a burger or something.
There's a narrow path of success in those sorts of fields. You can become manager and eventually get like regional manager. I mean, it's not isolated, but right, it's not going to be the end career for everybody.
No. And if you're looking for $15 an hour just to fucking flip some fries, I think that's a little bit much, man.
No, and that's what
Yeah,
I like
yeah.
what Nate just said, which is it's not about getting $10 extra. It's about the $18 you already make being worth more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
You know?
absolutely right.
Or whatever it is that they make. Let's say the average kid, 22 years old, is probably going to make about $18 an hour. A little bit of experience. That should get them the ability, if they're still living at home, which, a lot of kids do that, to at least be able to make a cell phone payment and a car payment.
Well, but the majority of people today,
Right now, I don't think you can.
Well, I would say the majority of people today still make above the federal minimum wage. Like there aren't many people, unless you're working at a McDonald's or at maybe some retail spots. I could see that, but
What
If you're working in restaurants, dude, like the only people making minimum wage in restaurants are hosts.
right?
Like,
But I mean, there's a whole host of factors that would play a role in the wage being where it is. Illegal immigration, for example,
yeah,
you
for
know,
sure.
creates you have a whole workforce here that's under the table that will probably accept less, and what that does is drive down the wages of tax-paying American citizens.
Yeah.
So, you know,
It's really hardcore about not. You have to be very like legal and documented to work in Virginia. Florida is kind of like that, but there's a little bit of leeway here. Cali is not like that at all.
Right.
So,
what do you mean?
just,
They just
dude,
let everybody. Yeah,
you saw what happened when we went to SoFi. Like
Yeah.
none of those people were legal, man, and they were allowed to sit there and sell goods and stuff and alcohol on the property of the stadium.
probably with no license.
Without any license, without they were just allowed to come onto this property. So it's a whole different thing. It's a whole different thing. That shit wouldn't fly here. It wouldn't fly in Virginia. Like they would definitely need to make their money back. You know, they're not just going to allow people to sell anything without taxing them or, you know, getting something out of it. So
Yeah.
that definitely drives down the wages of labor because those people are willing to do it for, you know, nothing. Because $1 in Mexico goes a long way. Even still, you know.
So
Imagine the increase in quality of worker with such an adjustment as well as things like the no tax on tips and overtime and stuff like that. People that otherwise could have a professional job during the day could end up serving you your drinks at the bar at the end of the night because it's all of a sudden worth doing.
It's still worth
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah. But to somebody
mean-
that is paid, you know, $200, you know, or $150,000 a year and wants to make some extra money, they would strongly consider doing something like that. You know, because all of
Yeah.
a sudden there's tax on it. I mean, that's huge. Those people look for avenues to cut out on taxes. They would absolutely do something
Honestly,
around.
I think the no tax on overtime will benefit people more so than the no tax on tips. Because
Yeah,
in all real scenarios, most tipped employees are only claiming credit card tips anyway, so any cash tips they get is all tax free regardless.
Right.
So, but if
what
you can
you-
give all of them, you know,
It's what
free,
you say
that'd
it
be
is.
fantastic. Yeah, that's
Right.
exactly right. So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, the overtime thing is amazing.
But so the CEO of Zillow actually had come out in the past couple days and said that Trump's mass deportation plan would actually bring both the rent and the house buying markets down. Like it
Yeah.
becomes slightly more affordable because
Yeah.
right now there's a lot of I guess units that are being occupied by people that really have no legal right to even be in the country. And
It's
I mean,
being
that would
paid
be-
for by the government.
and I believe that I don't know. Some people might be upset to see their home values decrease, but on the other hand, it's going to be beneficial to a lot of people who are looking to purchase a home, or
Yeah.
the interest rates coming down will be beneficial to people who have a mortgage right now. Maybe they got it since 2020, 2021, and a lot of those people since 2021 have not been seeing interest rates below 5, I'm sure, in most cases. In the next 2-3 years, you might actually be able to get it like a 3.1 again, or a 3 potentially. I think that would be vastly beneficial to a lot of people who are purchasing homes in the future, because it could make tens of thousands of dollars of difference over the whole term of the loan, I believe, or more.
Hey, man, the way I see it, I'm not using that equity right now. I could pull the equity line before that ever happens, and that's given to have it at that point, for at least 10 years. And then on top of that, a lower value associated. It's lower property tax every year I pay. The cost of goods would be affected. There'd be more money in the economy. I mean, I could deal with that. I could stomach that because I know the ripple effect would be positive. It's not that I'm selling the home right now. I'm not making use out of the equity. And if I have an equity line, it's fine. I can use it. I've got the equity in hand.
Yeah.
So I won't be worried about it at all, man. I'm just going to I just pulled an equity line. So, we're good.
Yeah.
10 years is there. It's ready to roll. I'm
How
excited
does
for
that
it.
work exactly?
The equity line, usually they're 10-year
Yes.
periods, 10-year draw period.
Let me see. I'm gonna.
So,
And it's,
Can you take? do you take like a lump sum of your equity and then you have to pay it back within 10 years, or how does that work exactly? Is it a
It,
loan against yourself, against your house?
it's a second loan against the home, and it's a line of credit, so it's not like the loans where they give you the cash up front. You can do what's called a fixed rate advance or just pull the cash right away or at various points within the loan. But typically, the standard home equity line is a 10-year draw period. You get 10 years to pull from it. You pay it back as you use it. Most of them have an annual fee of maybe $100, $150. And when you pull the money, there's various ways you can pull it. The standard way is it's a variable rate. So in this economy, when you pull the money, if you have to borrow against it like I do, it's going to continue to go down when the rates go down, which helps. I could fixed
Right.
rate advance it and fix it in at a lower rate than it is currently. You do that. And then if you really pull a bunch of money, you could also set up something like, like a payback period of a certain number of years that's principal plus interest, and you know exactly what you're paying to pay it back. But they're variable. Think credit card with a better rate,
Yeah.
and with an annual fee of like $100, $150 on average. And they'll lend up to 80 to 85% of the value of your home. That's typically the case. You know, if you have $100,000 in equity in your home, then they'll give you 80 grand, 85 grand with a line. And even if values go down, you still have that line, you know, for the amount of that equity. It's useful.
Huh.
It's a cheaper avenue of borrowing than, you know, a lot of others.
Right. I mean, you're borrowing
Cheaper
against
personal
yourself,
loan.
aren't
But you're
you?
borrowing against the value of your home currently. So
Yeah.
what you're saying is if the value decreases,
It's still your equity. That's why they'll
Okay.
only do up to 80 to 85% of that value.
that way it gives it a 20%, 15 to
Exactly.
20%.
Drops
Okay.
down. Agreed on those terms of it. Now they always put this little caveat in the terms, like it could change at any point in time or whatever. It wouldn't really happen.
Right.
You know, they have that confidence in the
Okay.
markets.
I mean, it really just depends on how everything is going. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can borrow against it. It's cheaper than a personal loan.
What do you think about Jerome Powell? And do you think he should step down?
I think honestly that the whole system, the reserve system in general, and all that. So I think it's just a bunch of self-elected bankers. I think just like any central banking system, it's a problem. I understand their purpose of being there, but I don't recognize the legitimacy of them. I mean, they move the money in the economy, they set the rates, and that's a huge thing, right? Where we are, it's
Right.
that constant battle for supply to meet demand. But honestly, I don't care about any of their personal inner workings. I watch the economy itself. They've been relatively aggressive with the 50 basis point reduction, but I think it was necessary and it wasn't a huge ripple effect. It was very timely. You notice they did that just before they started releasing the winter fuel. When the economy itself, the fuel became cheaper all of a sudden, and that's because
Yeah.
it doesn't evaporate as fast in the winter. They can use a cheaper formula. So that's normally cheaper in the winter. You know, they edged it right, is the way they went about it. So I don't have a lot of put on that one, man. The Federal Reserve does what they will, and nobody can tell them otherwise. They're self-elected bankers.
Do you think it
We're
would
at their
be
whim.
better for the country if we were on the gold standard?
Oh yeah, hell yeah,
Okay.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think the scandals are a big problem and whatnot, right? But I think they're inevitable when you have people like that. And to your point, the gold standard would solve a lot of that. I also like Trump's idea about he was talking about moving the agencies outside of the DC swamp.
Yeah. Dude, I really like that whole idea. Yeah. It would be awesome because then they can't all collude on what they do to fuck us.
Yeah,
You know, everybody has their own focus and that's what they're going to be focused on for however long their focus goes to stay focused. To be
Yeah.
calm for a second.
it's that is like the significance of the passage of time. You know,
To be focused on the
Right.
focus.
right? You
Yeah.
can't be unburdened at dinner with new
Yeah.
plans to take over.
No, but I think that's
Yeah.
honestly great. And then his whole plan where he is talking about going after unelected bureaucrats and jailing them if they've done anything too corrupt. Dude, that's badass.
That is great.
Get rid of all of the bloat, man. Like,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
that's what Elon Musk was talking about. That's what Kash Patel was talking about. And I'm pretty sure Kash Patel is going to be part of the administration this time around as well. So,
Yeah.
wow, it's going to be great.
I have article pulled up here where says Nikki Haley and Mike Pompeo will not be part of the administration.
Yeah, I saw that. That's fantastic. Or at least the
Yeah.
Pompeo part for sure. You know.
What is it about Pompeo that you didn't like?
Well, I mean, if you listen to Tucker, he'll explain it. But he basically targeted to kill Julian Assange as the director of CIA, which is a federal crime.
Really?
So yeah, amongst other things. So there's other shit, and everybody like reveres him. Even I did. I thought he was fucking awesome. He's just a smooth talker, but I don't know, man. I just think all these like DC swamp people need to go. He's been in way too long. You know, he knows the game. He knows the players. He's got to go. As
And then
far as
Nikki Haley. Nikki Haley kind of sort of stabbed Trump in the back a little bit. Not terribly, but
dude,
yeah.
as the ambassador to the UN, she was great. You know, like
Yeah.
she went in there and basically told them, you know, what we're gonna do and what we're not gonna do. And I think he just tapped Stefanik as the
Yeah,
ambassador to the UN now. Yeah.
yeah. From New York.
So, yeah, I
I
believe
think
so.
think that's where she's from. Yeah. So, and then there was also
Oh, did you also just to go ahead?
oh yeah, Tom. What is it? Tom Homan. He's going to be the new border czar. He's a former head of the immigration enforcement.
Nice.
Yeah, and
An actual border czar.
yeah, not the
Okay.
vice president like Kamala Harris.
People fight to get here legally. They take the time, they take the steps. They should not be bypassed by people who just walked over the border. That's just absolute shit, dude.
You know, we had a lot of people, big names like Mark Cuban, suggesting that Trump didn't surround himself by powerful women. But I just heard that he hired what's her name, Susie Wiles, to be the chief of staff, first ever woman to be appointed in that position. So
Yeah, she ran his campaign.
yeah, so far, I mean, she's been a part of all the campaigns. Actually, she's been a part of 2016 and 2020.
Yeah,
So,
so good. Good.
and
for
speaking
her.
of 2020, did you guys hear about 20 million vote difference for the Democrats?
Just in the Democrats, yeah, that's
So,
insane, right? But it was the
right?
most secure election, y'all. Don't you worry.
Yeah, I mean, I constantly point this part out about how everybody was afraid to leave their houses, so everybody wanted to do mail-in, and that just opened the floodgates to have all these fake ballots, and apparently close to 20 million of them. If you go back and look at the historical numbers, at no point has anybody ever made it to that. 81 million is what Joe Biden got. So
Yeah.
to me, it reinforces that the 2020 election was more than likely rigged and stolen. That's
Yeah.
my impression of it.
There's no other way to look at it at this point, honestly, man.
But it's the best thing that they could have done, though. I mean, if you think about it in hindsight, like if they had just let him like fairly win the election without interfering, he would be leaving in 70 days.
yeah.
Instead, he's back, he's fresh, he's had the opportunity to pick an entirely new staff without having to fire everybody. He doesn't have
to go scorched earth.
and why wouldn't he go scorched earth? Because even
He can't.
after this, he can't run again.
Yeah,
So-
Right.
unless it's a congressional mandate, like
Yeah, but that would probably require a huge number. It wouldn't be a simple.
it would,
50-50.
or like war to be active, like major war to be active. That would be the only other way that would happen.
Situational, right? It would be very,
Yeah.
very situational.
But it isn't unheard of. Like it has happened. But
I mean,
because of the time.
What is it? Theodore
I
Roosevelt?
think it was Roosevelt. Yeah.
Yeah, he served
That's the
three. He got a fourth term, but he served 3.5 before he passed away. It was right before the end of the Second World Wars. Truman took over, and he was the one who authorized the dropping of the bombs.
Yeah.
That's why Japan will never touch our boats again.
Yep. That's right.
That's why a lot of them have 3 eyeballs now too. Oh,
The Riyadh.
Yeah,
They are
But,
the
you know-
masters of quality. They can see
but
everything.
Trump does
what's
two
that,
things.
right?
Yeah, yeah, quality processes. Yeah, they
Exactly.
created statistical process control. Come on now.
They can see into that fourth dimension now, dude. We did them a favor.
Well, no peripheral vision as well.
Yeah, right.
Has anybody considered a subscription? Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. Oh, I don't know if you guys saw this, but the U.S. just launched or just ran strikes in Syria against Iran-backed targets. CENTCOM
Didn't know.
reported that today, 2 hours ago. There was 9 airstrikes. Yeah, within Syria.
So who's making the call there right now, right? Because Commander in Chief is old and not here.
Not, yeah.
Yeah. So who's making those calls? You think? You know, where's it coming from?
He's
They
probably in
trust-
the room. He's probably at the desk, and there's probably like 10 other people talking, and then the majority probably like eggs him on to do it their way.
Yeah.
You know
Come
what
on,
I mean?
Joe,
Like-
hit the button. Come on, Joe. There's ice cream if you hit the button.
It's like, I like to get a black and white.
Anyway, it was in response to attacks that had been taken out against our personnel in Syria currently. I guess we have something like 900 personnel in Syria. So I guess it was retaliatory. But, like, I don't know, man. Like, is that what we really want to be doing?
I don't know. I've heard that like the Taliban wants peace with America. They want to be
China
taken.
does.
Of course they do.
Yeah, Putin like has already said since the election that the Western civilization is not an enemy to them. Mexico are by themselves has begun processes to bring more troops to the border. Saudi Arabia is starting to be more active about going and getting Hamas and Hezbollah leaders out of their country. All
And
kinds of.
1 second on that Mexico thing.
Uh,
I feel like they should have to pay the price for allowing this to happen in the first place because they knew what the consequences were going to be, and I feel like at this point they
knew
this shit to happen.
what consequences? What would happen within the United States, or what would happen if
That
Yeah,
and
the
when
benefit for them.
Trump comes back. Well, yeah,
You
but
know, and our
doesn't
administration
benefit-
allowed it. I mean, shit, man. It's like if another country told America, look, all the trash in your landfills, just go ahead and dump it off in our country.
right.
You know, American, we'd be on board. You know, yeah, here you go. How much can you take? Take it all. I
Yeah.
mean, they're shoveling their trash out, of course. You know, I mean, hell, they want their
They
tourists
are-
there.
But they should still have to pay the price for it now, dude. Is
Yeah.
what I'm
They're-
saying.
Yeah,
Like,
they
we're
quit
going to have to
snowing and
expend
willing.
resources to get all these people back the fuck out of here. They should pay the price for
Yeah,
allowing it to
yeah.
happen. Not just fucking Mexico, but Ecuador, Venezuela, Honduras, all these countries that sent all their people over here. Sorry, dude, y'all have to
And-
do it the legal way, just like
You
everybody
know,
else. I don't
And they
have-
say it's not just the actual border, it's people that come in to the country and they overstay their visas. But last I
Right.
heard, they were actually flying people in without those visas and
True.
just dropping them off or busing them in. So
yeah,
Yep.
part of this problem is that the government themselves is making the problem worse. They are actively working against the right thing to do.
yeah,
So, and I think I spoke about this in one of our first shows about NGOs or what is it? Non-government organizations that
Yeah.
the government will just say, you're allocated, $40 million and,
Yeah.
we want you to do what you can for, immigrants seeking asylum. And so all of a sudden they're getting clothes or cell phones, they're getting hotel rooms. In many cases, they're being given like cars. It's terrible, man. Or
right.
I don't know. And that is a government self-inflicted wound. So now I don't think that anybody, as far as world leaders were concerned, believed that Trump actually would come back. Over the past 3.5 years, but more so over the past 2 years, You've seen what? The mug shot where they actually have them in court. They brought him down, was it to Georgia to take that picture?
Yeah.
You know, these sort of things. People were the raid on his house in Mar-a-Lago, was it? So I don't think anybody believed he was coming back. I think that most people on the left and even overseas probably believe that he would be in jail very soon right now. And the funny thing is, he can pardon himself.
It's funny. Our media did no favors internationally in that regard. They sure made it seem like
killed itself, man.
Yeah. I mean, so the rest of the world, if they're just watching that crap, they don't have like the everyday exposure of Americans having those conversations that prompts that thought. They're just going to listen to it. A lot of those countries don't understand really what's going on in the U.S. It's like
they don't understand how our government
behind
works.
Closed doors. Yeah, they don't.
Base everything through the lens of how their government works, and ours isn't like that. So, yeah.
Right.
I don't know. Also, to go to another one of your points, Joey, about the whole Hamas thing, I don't know if you've heard, but there have been all kinds of Arabs in Amsterdam attacking Jews.
Yeah, on the streets of Amsterdam after a football game, chasing them through the streets and shit. I heard that. And then the Dutch government started
let it happen. The cops just let that happen.
They didn't do anything, but they started doing I guess door-to-door searches trying to find people. I don't know. But Europe is completely, open borders, if you will. They've welcomed people from hostile areas in the Middle East. And this, again, is a self-inflicted wound that Europe has brought upon itself. And I don't know, people are going to have mixed opinions, but like we've discussed in earlier shows, look at the terrorism rate, look at the rape rate, assault and murder has, gone up in Europe as well. So in many countries, like, you see it in England, you see it in France, you'll see it in Germany. I don't know. You see it all over. Italy has a problem with it too. So that's something that the mass deportations, because everybody's mind immediately goes to Latinos. But I don't think that's going to be the case entirely. I think you're going to find a lot of different races from the Middle East, from China. You're going to find a lot of white Caucasian people from maybe not exactly Scandinavia, but, in Europe, you're going to find all kinds of people.
The people that overstay their visas, I would say mostly, are probably Europeans, man.
Yeah, the overstayers.
Yeah.
Because they're the ones who
illegal border crossers, or everybody else, like the Chinese, the Arabs, the Spanish people from everywhere, fucking the Haitians, all of that stuff.
Right.
But I think most of the people that overstay the visas are probably like Europeans, or maybe, I would just say Europeans. I would venture, because I've known more Europeans that have overstayed their visas than anything else.
Yeah.
I've seen that as well. Working in banking, I've seen that. They come in.
So if they overstay their visa, can you continue banking with them?
If they already have their stuff set up, I mean, it's, we would just have an expired ID on file, effectively. I mean, they're not going to be able to come in and make any changes. We're not going to shut their debit card down. It's just they're still,
Yeah, I got
they're in there.
Yeah.
But no, exactly. I mean, but I still think that you would find a very wide variety of people. Like, the media wants you to believe that Donald Trump is targeting Latinos. I mean, they made a whole point about it. They really were, and that's not it at all. In fact, I think you're going to find that you'll find a lot of Chinese people that come to the United States as well, and whether they're leaving for real purposes, like, maybe they're afraid that their government will persecute them, or maybe it's more nefarious. Maybe they want to do some sort of like business here, or who knows? No speculation, but I'm sure that you'll find that it's a much wider variety of people than the media will lead on to.
I would venture to say you're probably right about that.
So,
but the media isn't exactly the place where you should get your information these days.
I don't, but people do.
I'm excited because the changes that are coming and the real world implications are all more from the direct people of the country. I mean, you see it on places like X, where Musk is so entwined within the government at this point, and he puts out polls of what people want. And you overwhelmingly see stuff that I'm like, man, that is so practical sense, and I agree with that completely. But the general government, your electors, your representatives, they're not listening to that. But that's going to get to Trump now. That's going to get to our leadership, the people that matter. It doesn't have to funnel through those that could care less. It's nice, man. Things will be more direct, I believe.
Yeah. So, and like I was saying, Saudi Arabia is actually going after a lot of these terrorist leaders, a lot of the wealthiest ones who stay in their country, allegedly starting to make them go back to their countries of origin. I've seen where I guess Mayor Adams has really been ramping up the rhetoric on the immigrants that are eating up their resources. Today, I heard that people are being bused into New York, and within a month or two, I mean, obviously they come in. There's no job opportunities for them there, and they're being bussed right back out. They sent 4,500 people to Texas the other day. So, which is ridiculous if you think about it. Like the whole thing is ridiculous. Look at all the money wasted for semantics, basically.
Right. Proving a point.
Oh,
So, but yeah, Mayor Adams is in trouble with the government up there because he said so.
isn't that funny though? Like honestly, as soon as he said something, a couple months later, they come out with this fucking indictment on him. Like he was cool as long as he was towing the line, but as soon as he had something to say, he was like
Right.
enemy number one to them.
Right.
That's some shit, man.
Turncoat.
Right.
I wouldn't.
It's just so funny how like as soon as you step out of line, they come at you, man.
There's another Democrat. I don't know who he was today. I can maybe look it up, but he was talking about the party wants to make you afraid to say, the wrong thing. So he's like, I have daughters and I have sons, and I can tell you that I don't want boys playing in my daughter's sports teams, but my party makes me afraid to say that, or else I won't be able to, advance. I'll have to look up who that guy was. But, even Bill Mayer is talking about it's the ridiculous far left radical ideologies that caused this loss. The Democrat Party is not listening to the needs of the people.
Nope.
They get made fun of about wanting a better economy. Right now, you have young women that are angry making these TikTok videos, shaving their heads.
Right.
For what purpose? For what purpose? They're like, I hope you enjoy your cheap groceries, and you don't care about women's rights. I'm like, that's exactly the point. Before I can care about my neighbor, I need to take care of myself. Like
it took Donald Trump getting elected for y'all to stop being whores. That's cool. Yeah. It's a win for us. America's already getting better.
Right. It's like, abstinence is the best kind of abortion.
I mean, yeah, it should not be used as perspective, dude. Like,
exactly that. Exactly that. There are instances, and I think Donald Trump's even said it. What is it? Incest, rape, and the health of the mother, like the life of the mother. So if she has a miscarriage, yeah, you can. Well, it's not an abortion, but you would have it removed. But not for contraception, like you said. And there needs to be a limit on the weeks. Bottom line, there needs to be like a term limit, and it can't be like our governor here at one point said that you can have an abortion the day of birth, and if the baby survives, they would keep it comfortable while a conversation happens between a doctor and the mother. Yeah. What does that mean? If the baby is not in the mother anymore, what are you talking about?
That was your old governor, right? What was his name? Youngkin or something?
No, Youngkin's the guy who we got now.
Oh, Youngkin's the new one.
Yeah.
What was his name?
I'll look him up. Man, I forgot his name too.
Northam.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know where I pulled that one out of, but there you go.
Yeah, it's just murder at that point.
Ralph Northam.
Yeah. Holy shit.
Yeah. What a prick.
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
But and I looked this up, I don't know, probably 2 years ago, so it might be a little bit different now because I haven't looked it up recently, but there were 12 states where you could have an abortion in the third trimester. 12. Like up until like the last month.
Yeah,
Yeah.
12 states. Are they all blue states?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. California.
For sure. I don't remember fucking Oregon, Washington for sure.
Then New England typically goes blue too.
There was a couple there, and I want to say there's one or two in the Midwest somewhere. But it may be different now since, yeah, who knows? Who knows? Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently, Youngkin is.
Youngkin.
I don't know, but he was the answer to, the left basically allowing boys in the girls' room up in the most wealthiest counties in Virginia, Loudoun, Fairfax County. The R next to his name means dick.
Dick.
Yeah, it means nothing. I don't know.
It's kind of funny.
He was definitely a repudiation at the time. I don't believe that they'll all get reelected in the next election. North Virginia, like we saw last week, always goes blue, and I don't think that he'll pull it off a second time.
So, real quick, now that we're talking about the election, Wisconsin is still counting. Okay. And they had a ballot dump yesterday for their local elections that shot all of them up to the blue. Just like they did in 2020. It was fucking insane, dude. They're still counting. It's been 6 days.
Yeah. There should be a standardized system for vote counting. It should always be finished the night of.
How is Florida Man the only one that's got it right? Not the only one, but we got our shit right. How is that possible? We're the most.
They need to investigate the hell out of that. They need to investigate that big time.
Yeah.
Some last minute ballot dump. They need to look at all those very closely.
But essentially, I'm hearing that both of these proxy wars that we're fighting in, that a lot of the main players, are starting to express interest in winding it down. Both Russia has expressed interest in working with Donald Trump to find a resolution with Ukraine, as well as both Hezbollah and Hamas expressing interest in working with Israel. So to get it done, I don't know. Bottom line, what I like about that whole situation is, as being proxy wars, we're obviously footing the bill, and I hate that, and I'd like to see it stop. So they need to figure that shit out. I don't know. That's just me. I often wonder, I would like to stop sending money overseas, but how would that affect the balance of peace and power in the world?
Well, if we use as a nation if we produce more oil as a nation than we use, why are we fighting wars to enrich companies of some fucking politicians overseas to get oil? That's absolute garbage, dude. We should be using our own fucking oil. We have enough of it. We produce enough of it. There is no reason why we should be importing it from halfway across the world and giving dictators money to have their shit. That's an absolute number one waste of taxpayer money. I don't want my money to be going to these people. That's absolute horseshit.
Yeah, and it was like I was saying earlier.
But we do produce way more oil than we use, so there's no reason. That's the part that never made any sense to me. Why don't we just have American-made oil? It's here.
And it's not just that; it's the what do you call it? The licenses and permits for oil exploration to go and look for new sources of oil.
They're very restrictive. They're very restrictive as well. They don't approve the permits. They say they do that, but they don't.
No, they don't. And I was just listening to a story about how you could have much cleaner technology, but because it's not 100% green technology, you can't build in certain places like California. So instead, you have to use what you have from the 1970s and 1980s. Was it one of you that said that to me yesterday? Maybe not.
Nope.
No, yeah, they were saying that because this modern technology may not be exactly what California wants, even though it might be, 10 times more efficient than what they currently use, they won't authorize it. I mean, and you can see this trend with how they want to outlaw internal combustion engines by, is it 2030 or 2032 or 2028? I can't remember, but within 10 years.
2030, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That place is nuts, dude. It's just so unconstitutional, that whole state. That's a
It's so
mess, man.
beautiful, man. It's so nice out there.
It's
dude.
such a
They
mess.
fucked it up. Yeah.
It's a mess.
But basically, everything they do is not right. It's totally against the Constitution. Allowing illegals in, very regular. Too many sanctuary cities there.
Yeah,
There's,
yeah.
There's like
They're like
30
cesspools
million-
of homelessness and drugs, but it's
Yeah.
such a concentration of people, and they all go and vote. That's crazy, man.
Yeah,
But
30
a
million
homeless drug
people.
addict's trying to turn the tide. Like, what the? Like, no, dude. You gotta square your own life away before you tell me what to do with mine.
Right. Yeah, like no politician from California should be going around telling anybody what to do. Like when you've got literal human fecal
These
matter on
memes
the
and everything.
streets. You know?
You talk about Newsom with his meme stuff,
Yeah.
outlawed memes or whatever.
Oh yeah, which reminds me, Donald Trump was proposing he was like basically stating that this is going to happen, a digital bill of rights. So you cannot have your account shadow banned or completely banned or taken down without having a court order that actually breaks a real law, because digital freedom of speech is freedom of speech.
That would
So
be interesting.
yeah, so. And it would basically make companies have to actually companies would be required to meet a certain standard of neutrality. Otherwise, they could have a lot more restrictions placed on them, because right now they're playing as co-conspirators for one side or the other. But
That would be
typically
incredible. Can you imagine that?
Yeah,
The stuff he's
So-
implementing would change everything for the
yeah.
better.
No, and he was hardcore. He's like, when we are done, there will be nothing left of the old system.
Dude,
I
that
mean,
is amazing.
It's scorched earth. You got to go look it up.
Breaking up the deep state, man. Oh my god, dude. And he's got to be protected, man.
Yeah.
He's got to be protected from any. I mean, dude, moles, right? That's the thing that worries me within the system.
Yeah.
That's
He's also, part of his proposal was to jail people that leak information to the media to spin a narrative. So
yeah.
all it takes is one, man.
Yep.
One, like, legit jailing of somebody really important, and the rest of them will fall in line real quick. Show them you're not fucking around. You have to make an example, or just throw them all in jail, man.
Throw them all in jail, man. Yeah, throw them all in jail. Yeah.
I would say,
Right.
yeah, you got 4 years of litigation that you can use. You can get a lot of the big ones in. I mean, look at who the power players are. You cannot tell me for a second that Barack Obama is not a major power player.
I don't
He's
think he
like,
is anymore.
No, not after this. Not after this, but up until last Tuesday, he was still known as a kingmaker. You know,
Right.
so not a queenmaker, which is what, if he really had that power, he would have got Hillary in before. But I don't know. Like, you'll never see somebody like Barack Obama go down or Joe Biden, but you'll see some other person, probably an appointee bureaucrat that would take the fall, and that would be okay. I mean, why is that so outlandish? I mean, even Steve Bannon went to jail. He's out now. It wasn't the longest term, but the same thing should happen to their side as well. And I'm not calling it lawfare. I'm calling it justice.
Well, I mean,
Right.
at this point, some of that has to be considered treason, man.
Right.
Like you're essentially splitting up the country on purpose. You're allowing this invasion of people to come in on purpose. That's treasonous bullshit, man. Like, our founding fathers would have shot people for less than that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they would have.
So
You want to tax my tea?
exactly.
Fucking tax me. Try to tax me.
Balls.
That's exactly right, though.
Talking about Washington.
Yeah. You know, George Washington with his fake teeth, like, currency balls.
I have maple teeth. No, man, but like seriously though, it was a tax on tea without anybody saying yay or nay on it, and they were like, "Fuck you!" Took the only superpower and said, "Now you're my bitch." Like, and here we are allowing our government to do the same fucking thing to us. We are taxed so heavily, and we have representatives, but none of them represent us. None of them.
No.
They all need to go.
Yeah.
We need to start
Yeah.
it.
That's,
Well, in a lot of ways, this is a good opportunity to do something like that.
This is our only opportunity we're ever going to have, especially in our lifetime, to shrink the state of the government and get it back to where the people
particularly at the beginning,
mostly in
because
charge.
you'll have control of, you know, Congress. And that's a big thing. A lot of the things that he wants to do are going to have to come down to Congress's hands.
yeah,
You
Congress
know.
blocked him a lot the first time around. His wall, blocking
Yeah.
the hell out of his wall. Yeah, and they
Yeah.
still will go on and be like, "You never finished your wall."
Yeah,
I hate.
exactly.
Oh my! I hate that, man. I
Yeah.
hate that. But like, you know damn well why I didn't get finished. It was you.
Yeah.
You know, that's insane.
I mean,
It's
they
gaslighting, man. It's just gaslighting. Like, what?
So
I do that.
And there's so many instances where they do that too. I'm trying to
They
think.
do.
There's another one on the tip of my tongue here. So,
I mean, there's so many though, dude. It's like all over the place.
oh, I saw. That's right. A couple of days
Gaslighting
ago,
on
I think
everything.
I saw people on Twitter. They're like, "Well, why didn't he secure the elections back then?" Like, you know, you mean because like you guys kept saying it was illegal to show your driver's license before you vote?
No,
You know?
because COVID allowed unfettered access to mail-in ballots. That's the only
That's-
reason, dude. And it
that- I mean-
showed
Yeah.
this time
Yeah.
around.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It absolutely
But-
showed this time
but
around.
even still, there's a lot of states that have very low
Yes.
standards for ID. Now, Virginia, I think, was on the list that Elon Musk posted a couple of days ago. And my experience has been that, you know, I have to present an ID, but I have heard that you can show an ID in Virginia that may not have a picture on it. So I'm not sure if we have picture ID, but if you don't have your picture on it, like, you know,
What's the point?
what's the point?
Yeah.
How is it verifiable in
Yeah.
any way whatsoever?
You know, I mean, that's the
Yeah.
whole thing with credit card fraud is because most of them don't have your picture on it. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I-
and your
I-
Food Lion MVP card.
yeah, that's right.
Bank,
Yeah.
Can you let somebody access anything in their bank account without an ID?
No, hell no.
So Jinx says that Matt proved you don't need an ID to vote in Virginia. I'm not sure who Matt is, but there's apparently somebody who's proven it. So maybe I'm
That's
wrong.
absolutely insane, dude.
Matt Strickland. He was one of the people that was running for, was it representative?
Videotaped himself going to vote without an ID. That's absolutely insane.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bro, that's the most fundamental piece of security that you can have for anything. Like, that's just insane to me, man. Like, I don't get carded anymore because I got a lot of gray, but, you know, I used to get carded all the time. My wife gets carded all the time, and she's 41. Yeah,
Yeah.
she has to show her ID to get alcohol. Alcohol, and that's way less important than voting.
Yeah. It's important, but not as important. I'm
Yeah.
kidding. I'm kidding.
I guess.
No. Yeah. So anyway,
Just switch gears a little bit.
yeah.
Archaeologists identified centuries-old battle site in Iraq using declassified spy satellite images from 1,400 years ago.
Right.
They believe it to be between the Rashidun Caliphate defeating the Caesarian Empire.
Right on.
It's pretty interesting. I'm trying to
No,
find some
that's-
maps of that so we can see it, but I haven't found one as of yet.
Well, if we're going to step away from politics for a second, I hear they're going to do another. They're going to do another Starship test in like 8 or 9 days or something like that. So we're going to see
Nice.
another one go up and hopefully land in the big catchers.
Oh, nice.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be cool.
So, but I was not prepared to talk about that. So
I just thought this was interesting. I saw this today, and I'm like, oh man, that's really cool. And I wonder what other declassified spy satellite information we'll have soon. Man, I want
Nice.
to find a map. I've looked at like 5 articles so far, and I haven't found a map of where this is. Oh, apparently they found a fortress, and then, or 2 separate like staging areas. That's cool, man. Hell yeah.
nice.
With spy satellite information. I wonder if it's like LiDAR or whatever they were using.
Nice. All right. So
Anyway, sorry.
we got some people sending us stuff here too. So we have. Can you put this up on the screen from Berto first, and then I got something from Jinx next.
Where are we sending it?
We'll just put it on the screen. It's in the
Discord.
general Discord. Yeah.
Berto sent that meme.
Yep. This is actually a real thing. And then after that, we're going to show this, which goes back to voting without an ID in Virginia.
Hang tight, one sec. I wasn't prepared for this.
No problem, man. And then there's that one right afterwards. Oh, that's not it. There we go. Yes. This is a real thing.
Let me. All right, there we go. Yeah,
That's mental
Crazy
illness, man.
crazy women shaving their head because Trump wins. That's insane.
Right.
It is.
It's a win.
I mean, it's mental
That's a
illness, man. There's a high probability that this person probably has taken some sort of medication for their mental state. So, and that's bad, man. I don't really even have an answer for that. You know?
Yeah, there's not much to say on that.
There, right behind it is another photograph. This is the ballot from Virginia where Matt Strickland actually went in and voted without an ID.
Okay, hang tight.
So had to sign a special type of ballot here. Is that a provisional? Let me look it up.
I think it's this one. Yeah. All right, there we go. There you go, Joey.
There it is.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So Jinx says, note that Social Security and birth year on his ballot are optional.
Yep. That's
Oh wow. So all you have to do is what? Sign your name and print your name, and you're just saying that's your name. So technically,
Seems like-
even the warning on the bottom, if you don't put the other stuff, you haven't made a material or false statement on it. You know, if you don't put your other stuff, if you, let's say you have somebody's name that just exists there, or you just whatever. I mean,
which means
that's
that 15 people
that's-
can use your name to vote.
right. I would say it's not you. You've made a false statement, but
Yeah,
you don't have to put anything. I mean, you put whatever name you put your real name. Yeah.
that's crazy, dude.
You know?
That's just absolutely insane.
Just put your regular name. Like, yeah, just give me a ballot. Here's the name.
I don't know.
It'll be from Mexico, and give them a really, really Mexican name.
Yeah.
Print you out one, you know?
That's
Nuts,
real,
dude.
dude.
I wonder if that's how that
I mean,
works,
that-
right? Like,
But I mean, and that doesn't even really matter. I mean, it's like you could be from Mexico and be like an actual citizen here, you know?
You could, yeah, but you don't have to put your last four. It's just like we trust you.
Yeah.
We'll count it. We'll count it.
I don't know,
You
man.
can't
Like,
link it to anybody, dude. That's impossible.
yeah,
It's impossible that you need that number. You don't even have to put that either of those numbers. That's ridiculous.
right. Could you imagine just being able to go up to an ATM and just withdraw money from an account without a PIN?
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
like, you're right. That's how Democrats are looking at this. Like, hey, that would be cool.
Let's go up to the ATM. I'm Jeff Bezos. Thank you.
Well, you know. It
Yeah,
is-
exactly. Right.
I'll take the maximum withdrawal for today.
Like,
Thanks.
I need to get $20.
Stick it to the man.
It's funny, man. Jeff Bezos, when he was still building Amazon, the dude was probably worth like, I don't know, $500 million at that point already. And he was driving around an old Toyota Corolla. And they asked him about it, and he's like, this is a perfectly fine car.
Yeah. Most millionaires drive Toyotas, actually. It's a fact.
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah. It's not, it's when they get
Yeah.
older and
Most
retire where they
millionaires
start
drive
enjoying.
Toyotas.
Until not all, but many of them, when they get older and retire, they start treating themselves. But some
Yeah.
people, like Warren Buffett, still drive a Ford Ranger.
Right.
So,
Well, he lives in a very for how much money he has. He lives in a very modest house in a neighborhood that's like it's a little upper class, but it's not some sprawling fucking mansion like these other crazy people have.
Right.
It's actually a pretty decent sized house. It's really weird. His neighbors are close enough to see. Like he probably sees them every day when he drives away. Yeah,
right?
It's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Warren Buffett.
That's cool.
Yeah, that dude's worth so much money.
Yeah, tons.
Yeah,
for
Berkshire
sure.
and all that. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just the real estate stuff, I guess.
Yeah.
Well,
But again-
he invests a lot too. He makes a bunch of money on investments.
He does. He owns a lot of financial stocks and real estate and other stuff. He's owned upwards of like 20-something% of Wells Fargo at any given time.
So
It's a big holder.
Jinx was saying, because he will, among other things, he can make keys, program keys. He says that Toyota Corolla still charge $500 for a key, which is less than dealer, and Toyota, especially I'm sure the newer ones, they don't even bat an eye. So yeah, that's his profession. He's not like a criminal or anything. He's a locksmith.
He's not like a criminal or anything.
No, he's not doing Gone in 60 Seconds. It's like,
Right.
it's like,
He could watch
it's
out.
like, pay me pay me by the end of the day, or I'm impounding your car. Nah, he's not even that bad. So
I wonder if you could actually do that as a private business.
we have, I don't know what the rules are, but there are ways to, after certain periods of time, to get liens against vehicles that have unpaid debts. Like a mechanic's lien, for example.
Right, but I think that has to be. I think it's like a certain amount of time that the vehicle is there and they haven't paid you.
Of
There has
course.
to be, a certain amount of time passed.
Of course, there would be a certain amount of time, and you'd have to have a service provided and a debt that's due. But there are pathways of recourse for people in that situation. I saw a video of some person who brought a cell phone in to have a screen fixed, and the person fixed it, and the customer tried to take it back, and they ended up fighting over it, got into a physical altercation. Police came, and the shop owner was actually correct. He didn't have to return it until his debt was paid.
Yeah, it's true.
So
That's fair though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the
That's
same thing if
agreed upon
you-
contract.
yeah, if nothing else, the person could come and take their car back on a flatbed, I'm sure, but they don't get the key.
Right.
You got to go to somebody else now. So
Right.
I'm sure. But if they leave it there and they don't pay it, then at some point, I'm sure there's pathway to take possession of that vehicle.
Yep. Everything
So-
does that. I mean, the state will take your money if you leave it in an account long enough.
You could say it's abandoned. You know,
It'll go to escheatment.
That has to be, I think, 90 days though. Well, here in Florida, I think it's 90 days before you
Yeah.
can say it's abandoned.
yeah, I'm sure that the rules are different from state to state, but yeah, I'm sure
For
that.
sure. Yeah.
But yeah, no, there's really like a ton more to discuss, like in greater detail
Yeah.
too. But yeah, I think that's the basic gist of what's been going on in the past week.
Our current events for the week. Yeah. I'm going to do some more research on this archaeological find via spy satellites because that's super interesting. And I think I'll have more on it next time.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
we start with it. It's a little bit lighter, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, there's other things too, like the North Koreans have been helping the Russians, and they've been having a lot of trouble. And apparently, the North Koreans attacked a Russian brigade, ended up killing a bunch of Russians, like accidentally because of poor communication and training.
Yeah.
So, and I'd like to get some more information on that as well. But yeah, and I'm sure Nate can tell us some more stuff about the economy because it's going to be a wild week, you know.
It will, man. We're just gonna watch. Just
So,
watch
So
and
let's
wait.
get your popcorn ready.
Yeah, that's it.
all right.
Watch
Well,
and wait.
with that, gentlemen, I think I'll catch you in about a week.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll do that. I think
All right, fellas.
Talking with you guys always is.
But I think we're on the right course, though. So
Happy Veterans Day, gentlemen.
happy Veterans Day to you, sir.
Everybody
I was
watching.
gonna say you're the only veteran here at the moment.
Yeah.
And, you
Well,
know,
anybody
maybe
watching.
some people out there watching.
All the viewers too.
I got my free Chick-fil-A today. I got a free oil change. I got hooked up.
That's right.
Sweet.
Right?
Sweet.
It's awesome.
I saw this video of like this wild ass hog like running full sprinting through like a neighborhood, all the front yards, and the caption was like me going from restaurant to restaurant on Veterans Day. It must have been a military guy that posted it. So and yeah, happy birthday to the Marine Corps, which celebrated their birthday yesterday. Said 249 years.
I'm
Oh,
surprised.
and that's another thing I'll point out here at the end of the show. Another thing that Trump is going to get to do is preside over the 250th birthday of the United States.
Yeah.
He's going to preside over the LA Olympics and the World Cup, among other things that are going to happen here. These are all huge, the birthday of the United States, 250. That's more of us, but it is going to be kind of an international affair.
Well,
like the
he's talking
Olympics.
about doing like a World Fair type thing for the 250th birthday.
It's going to be
From what I
amazing.
understand on that, that'd be dope, man. It'd be worth coming back up there again.
Yeah.
Cool.
And potentially we'll have a lot of content potentially coming out of the inauguration too, because there's talk about maybe actually visiting in person. So there'll be more information on that to come in the coming episodes too.
Yeah, we should definitely do that.
So
For sure.
get everybody to go up there and record, and we'll put all of our videos together and we'll edit something nice. And we're going to also be including some videos for intros and things like that. So we expect the show
In the
to
future.
to get better.
More advanced.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and Nate is going to put more oil on his arms. Like,
Oh,
yeah, he's going to put
Just
so
came
much.
from a titty party.
Yeah, I want so much oil in there that the government wants to invade his arms to get
Wow.
to that oil.
unfortunately, the government has all the oil right now, so you're out of luck.
Well, in that case, we're going to do an arms
You have
embargo.
to blame Diddy.
Blame Diddy. We haven't even talked about him. We'll talk about that. And
Next
all his
week.
corrupt friends that were for Harris. So, but all right, guys. I hear the music playing me off.
Like turning the lights off in the restaurant.
Right.
It's a- it's a slow
on in the
burn.
movie theater.
It's a slow burn. All right, yeah, we'll see. We'll reconvene next week.
All right.
All right.
All
Good night,
right,
guys.
later.